All right, so now for the activity part, what we're going to do for this session is we're going to develop something called the Learning Action Plan. So this is your own individual outline for what you want to learn or accomplish as you engage at your service placement this year. So this is basically a plan during your first few weeks at your placement site that you will submit either through a Google Forms or or your Simplicity profile. If you guys are familiar with the Matching Fair, that's the same website that we're going to be utilizing today. This plan will help you think through your goals, prioritize steps, and be more deliberate about where you want to focus your learning and growth. So I do want to mention that the learning action plan that we're going to develop today is going to be read by your campus manager, right? So Jefferson is going to be reading all of the Almezi students' plan, and I'm going to be reading all of the students that I've been working with for Service Corps. So in addition to us reading it, we're going to be providing feedback. We're going to tell you, okay, great, this is a really great goal. Maybe let's develop a strategy for this. But in addition to that, we're going to submit it to your employer. So your employer is going to get a chance to read what your goals are. And for example, if there's something that they haven't taught you yet, or that they see that you're really passionate about. So for example, if you starting off your internship, you really wanted to do text preparation, but it's no longer involved in your job description, maybe like putting it in there if it's relevant to your position. You can put that in your learning action plan so that they can start thinking about the conversations they're going to be having and the assignments that they can give you. So for example, if you were also interested in working more with people, but you're getting more of like the admin side, include working more with people in your learning action plan so that your supervisor can take note that, okay, I want the student to also succeed. I want this intern to really get the best experience from their placement site. So I'm going to assign them a little bit more about outreach to the clients or the patients that we work with. So we are going to work on these goals today. There are three goals in particular that we want you to focus on. The first goal, or your first goal, is what knowledge. It should be about knowledge. So what information would you like to gain or expand in your service placement this year? We're going to go ahead and give you an example about what that means, or an example of a knowledge goal that is like a template in the next slide. The second goal is going to be skills, specific skills you would like to learn or strengthen, right? So what are some skills that throughout your internship you would like to get? And then the third one is civic engagement. This one's a little bit more complicated, and Jefferson is going to go a little bit more in depth on this one. But what attitudes, values, actions do you want to explore in connection to your service placement or theme area? So these are the three goals that we're going to focus on. But we're not just going to write, like I mentioned, like I want to learn how to swim, right? We're going to go more in depth into that. And the way that we're going to go more in depth into that is by developing SMART goals. So SMART goals is an acronym. Your SMART goal is the S stands for specific, the M stands for measurable, the A stands for attainable, the R for relevant, and the T for time bound. So I'm going to go ahead and post a video explaining the SMART goals, and then we can utilize the SMART goal strategy to work on our goals. Okay.
Stopping by. This is 2-Minute Classroom, and today we're talking about setting goals using the SMART method. Goal setting is a great activity anytime, but is especially popular around New Year's, at the start of the school year, and at the beginning of sports season. I would love to hear some of your goals in the comments, and I'll put some of mine in the description below. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. We'll go through each of these using the example goal of doing well on your next exam, a common goal for students. The first step is to make the goal specific. Doing well on your next exam is not specific. Try to answer the questions of what, when, and why. Let's specify your what as scoring at least 90% on your next science exam. For the when, it'll be whenever the exam is. Let's say it's in 4 weeks. The why is very important, as this is your motivation for the goal and something you can look back on if you get discouraged. It could be to improve your grade in the course, to score higher than a friend, or because you want to get into a great university. Whatever will motivate you to keep working on the goal. So now we have a much more specific goal. Score at least 90% on the next science exam 4 weeks from now to help you get to a great university. This goal is looking great, but we're not done yet. The next step is to make sure the goal is measurable. That means there are some metrics attached to the goal to let you know if you reach your goal or not. Looking back at our goal, we see that it is to score at least 90%. This is very measurable, and once you've taken the test and received a score, you will know whether or not you hit the goal. This is why doing well in your next exam is a poor goal. It is not measurable, and there is no clear way to define success or failure. The next step is to check whether the goal is achievable or not. In this step, you want to break the goal down and answer the question of how you will achieve this goal. What do you need to do in the next 4 weeks to get at least 90% on the exam? Some examples may include taking notes in class, spending 30 minutes 3 nights per week studying for the exam, and partnering with a friend a week before the exam to review notes and go through a study guide. The point is, you need a plan. Break the goal down into smaller goals that all feed up to the main goal. This will give you a clear path to success. The fourth step is to ensure the goal is relevant. And this step is more of a gut check to see if it fits well with your life right now. Ask yourself the following questions. Does this goal align with my long-term objectives? Does it keep me on track with other goals in my life? Will focusing on this goal pull me away from other more important goals? After thinking through this step, you should feel confident your goal is relevant and be even more motivated to achieve it. Scoring at least 90% on your next science exam is relevant because it will give you confidence in school and feed into larger goals around future education and career. The last step is to make the goal time-bound. A time-bound deadline acts as a target and helps you work backwards and set smaller steps to get there. If you set a fitness goal to do 100 consecutive push-ups but don't set a deadline to reach that goal, then it probably won't happen. Hitting a certain score on an exam is time-bound by default because there is a specific date for the exam, which allows us to break the goal into smaller steps leading up to the exam. And here's a bonus tip. If you truly want to reach your goals, then you have to write them down and look at them often. I recommend keeping a daily or weekly planner to track your progress. I put some excellent planner recommendations in the description that will help you make your goals a reality. Remember to share your goals in the comments. I'll read and respond to as many of them as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Okay, so now you learned a little bit more about how this can apply, or SMART goal strategies can apply to you utilizing it in your everyday academic life. And you can also think about this in everyday occurrences, right? So I know that one of the most famous examples that we have for SMART goals is losing weight, right? This is a personal goal perhaps, or gaining weight even, right? So if you ever had one of those goals, it's really simple, and maybe you might be able to relate. It's really simple to say, I just want to lose weight, right? But what exactly does that mean? You got to be specific. You got to say, I want to lose 10 pounds, and keep your eye on the prize, right? You want it to be realistic. You're not going to lose those 10 pounds in a week, right? Or, that's going to be a huge problem to your health, right? You want it to be attainable. You want it to be measurable, right? How are you going to measure your progress? Is it losing 2 pounds per week? Right? Is that how you're going to get there? And ultimately, you want to set a deadline. I want to do this within a month, right? The SMART goal strategy will help you in your personal life, and it will help you in every other aspect, especially right now during your internship placement site. So now Jefferson is going to talk a little bit about what the expansion of knowledge goal should look like.
Alrighty, thank you, Jacqueline. So for this section, we will touch on the first category, which is expansion of knowledge. Right, CUNY Service Corps is a great way for you members and fellows to increase your knowledge on the world of professional work, regardless of it's remote or not, right? And nonprofit organizations, what issues a certain community in New York City is currently experiencing, and lastly, other services and resources you did not know existed. You will provide your answers in your respective links. I'll remind you again that CUNY Service Corps members will be using your Simplicity account, and LMZ fellows will be using the Google form link. And right, so we're going to read the example. I'm going to call on someone to read second paragraph. Salma, can you read the second paragraph?
Sure. During my service this year, I will increase my knowledge and understanding of issues facing NYC immigrants by completing one informational interview with an administrator at my placement during the fall semester to acquire more information about the challenges nonprofits serving immigrants face.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Salma. Right. So what are the things you did not know before and would like to know more of, right? Remember to utilize the SMART guidelines we just learned. And in this example, they also utilize the SMART goals. So now all of you have 5 minutes to provide your answers. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat or just simply unmute yourselves. And once you're done answering, El Mezzo Fellows, you can just click next.